Perfect. We're in here, baby. We're in here. Alrighty. Doing some practice. I don't even know if this is going to go up, but I just want to talk on camera, get better. We're in New York City right now. I think I mentioned it last video. I realized that I don't actually have my phone because I'm recording with it, but today we got an interesting topic because it's something that I've noticed in my life, and ever since I've heard it, it completely changed my life. It completely changed my perspective on the universal law of nature for me. And it's that sacrifice is quite legitimately something that happens in direct proportion to your success. So basically, how much you sacrifice is how much you will output, how much you'll achieve. As you can tell, for example, I haven't done a ton of work for my body. I'm still, I'm doing that right now. But you can see I'm not fucking shredded. I don't have the bulging shoulders and the abs. I still got some body fat to lose or whatever. It's because I didn't have a ton of sacrifice when going to the gym. I was always very on off. I was always here and there. But now I'm much more consistent. I'm on my shit. I'm on creatine. I'm on, I've been on running. Like I've never ran 10 miles before in my entire life straight. I've done that recently. So things are, changing. And I've realized that but every time I felt sacrifice, it was in direct proportion to this pivotal moment in my life that was super ultra successful, filled with pleasure, filled with all of the fruits of my labor. And I think there's a universal law in there where you have to be actually sacrificing something that you don't want to do. So you can't sacrifice something for example, it's never benefited me to stop drinking or smoking, because it's never something I've ever done. So it was never seen as a sacrifice. If someone genuinely likes drinking and going out with friends every weekend, and they like smoking every day, and they stop, then that's an actual sacrifice. The reality will take that information and be like, oh, this person is making a sacrifice. This is something he's actively not doing, even though he wants to. For me, it was not the same way. So I think universe, has this equation where this sacrifice must be a genuine sacrifice. And every time I felt a sacrifice like that, it was, astronomical returns on pleasure and output and success. So one pivotal moment that changed everything for me, it's it's kind of a funny story, is that now we're in, New York. We're in New York right now. But a long time ago, I was in Las Vegas. I mean, not very long ago, a year and a half ago, but I grew up in Vegas. And when I first entered university, right, I didn't have a job, nothing. I've never had a job. I didn't know how I was going to get money. Really, I was just living off of the student loans I received, like the refunds I received, and I would just buy food with that and whatever. And then one day, a friend of mine was like, hey, you should come work at the kiosk. You should actually come get this job. And I remember I was like, all right, I'll come get this job. And I was super, I was super not excited about getting a job. At first, I was very hesitant. I'm like, dude, I don't know if a job is for me. Like, I don't want to work 9 to 5. I don't want to work on this 8 an hour, 10 hour bullshit. Back then, it just didn't seem worth it. I was like, $80 to eat out basically for what? Few times a week. You know what I mean? It just didn't make sense. I was like, there's probably better ways to make money, right? But aside from that, he was basically like, oh, by the way, it's all commission, bro. You can actually make money. It's actually directly proportional to how much you sell, right? Again, similar to sacrifice, right? And he was like, yeah, you should come check it out, because if you sell a lot, you get a lot of money. People are making, $300-400 a day at the mall. It was a kiosk, right? And it was in Las Vegas. So I come in, I have this interview with this Israeli guy, and his name was Michael, and he was like, yo, bro, I'm gonna, hook you up, blah, blah. He had a very heavy, strong accent. He's like, brother, we will teach you how to sell and everything. And, I was taught how to sell, right? But I remember, first day on the job, it was me and my friend Ashu at the time, right? And he was like, dude, he's like, we'll do it together. It'll be fun, whatever. And that was the same week that Black Panther came out, right? And we saw a bunch of black people in the mall, and we just exploited that. We were like, all right. We were like, Wakanda forever to all these people, stopped them, sold them some shit, whatever. First check was like $800, right? 2 weeks of work, $800. Ashi made like $1,200. I remember, I'll never forget, because once we got our checks, it was in cash in an envelope, in GTA. I don't know who's watching this, but we went into this like little hallway in the mall, and then we just spread out all of our money, from the envelopes, and we're like, oh my gosh, we're rich, whatever. Because think about it, $800 to me when I was in university, when I didn't have any bills or expenses or anything like that, was just literally food and gas. That money literally could go for months, right? So this is the pivotal moment, right? And I was having so much fun, right? And I was making a decent amount of money. I was making, $1,200 every couple weeks, $1,500 every couple weeks. Again, I did not fathom and understand how much money this actually was, right? Making $3K a month, working in sales or whatever, or working any job, as a matter of fact, is actually a pretty decent income for someone in university. But I remember there was one lady, I should say. Her name was Daisy or Desi, and she was a killer. She was like selling like 3 times more, 2 times more than I did every day, 4 times more, 5 times more. She was making literally like, I couldn't even, I actually thought it was fake. Like, I was like, there's no way she's making $5,000 every couple of weeks, right? I was like, there's no way. She's making $10K a month, like at the mall. I was like, I couldn't believe that. I was like, there's no way. And then this is when the sacrifice comes in, right? This is the pivotal moment. So I was making, $2K a month, $2,500 a month, $3K a month. And again, I didn't have any money issues. I didn't have any food issues. Going on dates wasn't a problem. Fortnite, V-Bucks, whatever I wanted, I had it, right? It didn't matter. It was whatever, right? I didn't spend anything. I didn't spend any money on anything. And then this is the pivotal moment of sacrifice that actually changed everything for me, right? Again, sacrifice is direct proportion to your success, right? Or you can even say the other way around. And, so what was so crazy to me is the moment that I was like, all right, I'm going to be like Desi. I'm going to try to sell as much as her. So every time I went to work, I would always ask for more hours. Instead of working 8 hours a day, I'd work 10 to 12 hours a day. The mall opened at 9 a.m. It would close at 9 p.m. I would literally work from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. trying to better my craft. And there was actually a moment, because Desi, she had the better location. So it kind of, there was more traffic in that area. I was in a very small location, a very tight location, and you didn't really have the ability to make as much money, right? But you had to kind of earn your way up. And I didn't really earn it yet. So by taking this extra shift, she had the morning shift. Morning shift was the best shift. And she would come in the morning, and then I would literally work the morning shift at the smaller location, and then I would transition on the night shift just to get the scraps, right? And it was still good, but I would just get the scraps because I wanted to prove myself and get better. So every single time in between, my shift, I would watch her sell. What is she doing? I'd ask her questions. What are you doing? And I was just obsessed. I became obsessed. And it became a painful period because I was working a lot. There was times in the mall where, literally the slowest of days, from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m., I'm just sitting there. And there's nobody there. Like literally, we're talking about maybe 20 people in the whole 4 hours walk past. And it's an opportunity that I miss every single time I'm trying to stop someone, right? Yeah, I was making a little bit more money. It got to $3,500 a month and $4K a month. I was starting to get better. And then I started getting books. I started reading the Wolf of Wall Street, right? The straight line selling system. I don't know if it was the Way of the Wolf. Was the Way of the Wolf, I think. I don't know. The Way of the Wolf might have been the first book, but it was the one on the straight line selling system. And I remember reading that book by Jordan Belfort, and that was also, I watched The Wolf of Wall Street, 4 years before that, so it had a huge impact on me, and I learned sales. I became obsessed to the nth degree, okay? I became obsessed, and it was a painful moment. I was reading these books, I was obsessed, working on it 12 hours, I breathed it, I consumed it, all I wanted was to make as much as her. Right? Newsflash, in that same mall, I didn't, right? But I did, things that were out of the norm to get what I needed, right? Because I never got that location because she kind of solidified her position there. And I worked at different places. I would work at, I lived in Vegas, so I would work at Caesar's Palace. I would work at different casinos. I would work at Planet Hollywood, trying to get the opportunity of the best location. But a lot of these really great locations were taken by superb salespeople, and I didn't have a chance, again, to prove myself. It's kind of like the ex-Jacob Hopkins story of when he was working for Alex Hormozy. I don't know, this is, again, could have been I'm digressing, but, he worked for Alex Hormozy. He was a SDR, or an appointment setter for them, and then he always wanted to be a closer, but they would never let him, and then he would actually go and set the lead and then close the lead over and over and over and over again to try and get them to understand, hey bro, I'm like actually good, right? I had to do that over and over again. Same thing with me. I had to sacrifice and do more than what I should have. Well, I guess it was what I needed to do, but so after all of these transitions, I ended up getting a pretty fly opportunity, right? And I actually started making more than Desi did, right? Or about the same, I would say. But I think at one point more, while working less, right? So the opportunity that I got after all of that sacrifice, it just got dumped on me, right? they offered me to go travel state to state. They offered me to go. They were like, all right, just do this job, sell what you're selling here, the electronics that you're selling, but except in going to casinos, in Vegas, staying here, it's kind of saturated. Let's go to state and sell at different shows, like home shows and, different shows about different things or whatever. We present this product here, different customers from different states. I don't know anything about this, so they're going to be easier to sell, whatever. So I'm like, great. Again, I'm nervous. I'm making a sacrifice. And for a lot of the beginning, it didn't actually work out. I was making way less than I did at the casinos. I was making way less. Like we're talking, I remember at one point I flew to, I believe it was Long Beach, California. And we flew in on a Thursday. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday was the show. And I remember I literally took home maybe $300 those 3 days. And I was like there in a different place. I didn't even make my money back. Like literally all of the money that I spent on food and all this bullshit was like probably what I made there. Maybe I made a little bit more than that. But then I stuck it through. I was like, there's probably gonna, because I was like, shows are a good thing. People are making, 10, 12 grand a month, 15 grand a month, working 3 days a week, and they get to see like all these states. I'm like, of course I would want this opportunity. I'm gonna, keep going at it. And unfortunately, it didn't work with that specific company. Right? Again, I sacrificed. I did that over and over again while making no money and flying and taking a chance and taking a risk while all my friends were working jobs, right? I felt a lot of pain during that time. And then God blessed me. And it was a direct proportion again to my pain was I received a great opportunity with a great, a decent company. I would say not great, but decent company. And I was easily making 10, 12 grand a month, working 3 days a week. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, right? I wasn't born rich. I didn't, it was literally, I just told you guys the story. I went through so much pain of reading, of being obsessed, working 12-hour days, getting an opportunity that I thought was good and ended up being shit. And then finally getting the opportunity that actually paid me fat, where I started my entrepreneurial journey. And it taught me a bunch about sales and people, and I started getting good at girls. And again, this pivotal moment, this pain that I felt happened during my first breakup, well, my only breakup, right? Serious breakup, and during something like this, sales. It happened in my company now, where I went through a lot of pain. It happens every day at the gym. I'm not working out that hard. You could see from my body, right? I'm not the buffest guy in the room. You could see who's worked hard for things. You could see that, and again, the pain, I think, from what I've seen, again, it's never affected me. It's never been a positive thing because I quit drinking or smoking. It's good, for sure. But it really matters when someone loves it and they stop. Then the universe says, this person really loved it and gave up what they loved. This is a sacrifice. They take it, process this in the universe, and then they spitball it out into whatever you sacrificed for, the output, right? So yeah, this is what I've seen in my life. I think it's something that I also, again, making these videos, hopefully I didn't just fuck that up, but making these videos, I hope kind of can give some perspective. And also for myself, looking back, I would love to see how I was thinking at 25 years old. But yeah. So success is a direct proportion to your sacrifice, and sacrifice is a direct proportion to your success. Whatever you sacrifice is going to be the output of whatever success you get. And whatever success you get is going to be the direct input of whatever you sacrificed. And how much the actual pain you felt, right? I remember feeling a lot of pain during those times. I felt pain in a lot of situations, and it's blessed me in tenfolds. And I know it's going to continue to bless me because that's the universal law. It has to be painful. I don't want to go too off topic, but yeah. You guys can apply below to my newsletter. It's bitbankclub.com. I actually bought the domain bitbank.club. So if you're growing or building a SaaS, you can definitely check it out. I again, it's completely free. I just write about things I've read in there, and just kind of release daily newsletters Monday to Friday about running our software company, $1 million software company. We just hit $1 million in revenue. We're doing $79K per month, 56K MRR. No, 52, 53K MRR, something like that. I haven't checked. 50 something, 55, maybe 54. But I just want to be on this journey of building businesses and kind of applying principles that categorize information, that kind of can categorize information for me to make decisions easier in the future. But I think just thinking of principles like this, when I don't see any results when I'm doing something, for example, my body, I want to really know, did I sacrifice? Did I really sacrifice when I was at the gym? Did I really feel the pain? When I really wanted the donuts, did I say no? Is the universe recognizing these things? But anyways, I'll see you guys.